No bean spread gets more glory than a hummus. I mean, I get it. It's smooth and creamy and delicious. I love hummus. But hummus is like a blonde. It's appealing in a mainstream sort of way. Not that there is anything wrong with that. But this black bean and walnut pâté is appealing like a brunette. It's mysterious and sophisticated. This is an Armenian dish. I got introduced to it about 20 years ago, shortly after I moved to Boston. If you've ever lived in Boston, you probably know who Anna Sortun is. Anna has several restaurants in the Boston area that serve dishes inspired by the Eastern Mediterranean cuisines. In other words, Turkey, Lebanon, Syria, Armenia, and other countries in that region. These cuisines rarely get much attention in the US. People think of the restaurants serving them as ethnic or holes in the wall where the college students eat. But Anna changed all that in Boston. She gave these cuisines the care and the amazing local produce that they deserve. Nowadays, that's not that unusual, but 20 years ago, it was revolutionary. When I tasted Anna's bean walnut pâté, I knew that I absolutely had to learn to make it. I don't know if my version is authentic Armenian or even authentic Anna, but it is addictively delicious. You can use canned drained beans for this dish or cook your own. Because I have an InstantPot, cooking my own takes absolutely no effort, so I might as well. Put a pound of rinsed black beans into the pot. Add 8 cups of water and 12 grams of salt. That's 1.5 tablespoons of diamond crystal kosher or 2 teaspoons of table salt. Stir, cover, and seal the pot. Pressure cook for 30 minutes. Make sure the pressure setting is set to more and turn off keep warm. In slightly over an hour, the cycle will complete and the pressure will drop. Make sure you let it drop all by itself. Do not release the steam, since that will cause many beans to break. Open the pot and taste at least 5 beans before you decide that they are done. Find the most intact ones, since they'll be cooked the least. If your beans are almost there but not quite, reseal the pot and cook on low pressure for 5 minutes, letting the pressure drop naturally again. Get the insert with the beans out of the Instant Pot and let the beans cool until they are room temperature. If you drain them prematurely, they'll all burst. I actually find it a lot more convenient to cook the beans the day before and chill them overnight. Slow cooking is another option for dry beans. I'll link to a video on that below. And of course, you can just simmer them very gently in a pot on the stovetop. For the walnuts, preheat the oven to 350 degrees. Spread 1 cup of walnuts on a baking sheet and bake until they get aromatic, about 10 minutes. Let's slice 2 garlic cloves and measure out 2.5 cups of drained beans. But don't discard the cooking liquid, we'll need it later. If you're using canned beans, you'll need about 2 15-ounce cans. Put the beans into the food processor, add the walnuts, 3 tablespoons of butter, the garlic, and my favorite ingredient, pomegranate molasses. I'll use about 1 tablespoon. Let's add a little salt and puree. Don't forget to scrape down frequently. If the texture is too thick, add a couple tablespoons of the bean cooking liquid. If you're using canned beans, you can just add water. My acidity level seems good, but the salt is too low, so I'll add more. Let's puree it, and then we'll taste it again. Now let's talk about the texture. This pâté will get significantly stiffer in the fridge, so you want it to be roughly the texture of mashed potatoes after you puree it. If it's not there yet, add even more bean cooking liquid. Now I feel like I got the texture right and a good balance of salt and acidity. You can serve it right away or put it in the fridge. I like it drizzled with a bit of pomegranate molasses. It's particularly good with pita chips, but any bread will work. Oh, and if you need a recipe for pita chips, look in the description below. In case Anna ever sees this video, I want to thank her for being the inspiration for this dish and for giving me my pantry. I can't even imagine life without pomegranate molasses. For someone who has never been to the Middle East, I use an awful lot of labneh and sumac and za'atar and bulgur. That's all because of Anna, and here is why. My first restaurant internship was at Casablanca in Cambridge, where Anna used to run the kitchen. It was right after Anna left to open Aliana, so we've never met, but even if Anna wasn't there in person, I think she was there in spirit. Here are a few frequently asked questions about this dish. What brand of pomegranate molasses do you use? I use Cortez. It has the most acidity out of all the brands that I've tried. That's why it's my favorite. It's also the most popular brand for Middle Eastern cooks in the US, so any Middle Eastern market will carry Cortez. Some of the brands that I've bought from regular supermarkets were too sweet for me, so I would try Cortez at least once to learn what this ingredient should taste like. I know that there are many recipes for making your own pomegranate molasses. I think it's a waste of time and money. Cortez is made in Lebanon and their pomegranates are way better for this purpose. It's also cheaper to just get Cortez on Amazon than to buy bottled pomegranate juice and reduce it yourself. Can I omit the butter? Yes, you can. If you're trying to keep it vegan, you can use olive oil or vegan butter like Miyoko's. Olive oil will give you a looser texture, more similar to hummus. That's why I like the butter so much in this dish. It gives it a really different personality, more like a chicken liver pâté than a dip. Why did I have beans left over? If you cook 1 pound of dry beans, you'll only need about half of the batch for this recipe. That's not a bad problem to have. You can turn the leftovers into a soup or a salad or freeze them for some future use. Here are more culinary tutorials for you to check out, and if you are ever in the Boston area, maybe I'll see you in one of my classes.